Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we are talking about Blender Network, specifically the closure of Blender Network. Now this may be news to some of you, literally that it exists, and to those of you that know it exists, it may be somewhat sad news to find out that it is shutting down. But yet, that is exactly what is happening. On March 31st in 2021, the Blender Network is going to be sunsetted. Now don't worry, this is not Blender, this is the Blender Network. Now you may be forgiven for not knowing what Blender Network is. I haven't touched this in a very, very long time. I believe this was started back in about 2011. And what it is, basically, it's a professional portal. You may have actually heard Unity shut down their very similar thing just a few weeks back. We'll get back to that in a few minutes. But Blender Network is a place for professionals to post their jobs. You're going to come on here, you'll find a network of professional Blender developers here. It was a nice place to go and find like-minded people. Also a place to post jobs, events, and also, here's the key thing, certified training. Now, the truth of the matter is, this was shut down anyways because they had resource limitations on the amount of certification they could actually do. And the whole purpose of this Blender Network, this professional network for Blender developers, it kind of met its end, and part of it is because the rise of social media and alternatives to this. Now we have things like Facebook, Discord, Twitter, and so on. But yes, they are shutting it down. So this was announced earlier today, December the 30th. This is a press release off of the Blender site. I will link this in the linked article down below. On March 31st, Blender Network will terminate its operations. All ongoing memberships will be canceled and have their last payment refunded. Oh yeah, you also had to pay to do this, which probably is also partially why it is winding down. Blender Foundation Certified Trainer Program was already on hold and will stop. BlenderNetwork.org domain will redirect to blender.org. No data will be preserved on the Blender Network org server, so if you've got any data out there, get it off. Originally presented in a white paper in 2010, mission wants to facilitate provisioning of services and support connecting users and promoting professional Blender businesses. The mission has been carried out by the Blender Network org platform, providing visibility and business opportunities to several hundred individuals and organizations. However, the incredible growth of the Blender community and the rise of social media have greatly reduced the need for a Blender Black platform to provide legitimacy and visibility to professionals. For this reason, after almost a decade of operation, it is time to retire the platform. Additionally, and this is the certification process, has also been made redundant. While there is an understanding that an official certification is highly appreciated in education environments, Blender Foundation is not able to oversee the effort of building, maintaining, and auditing an educational curriculum. So the idea of a free public centralized index of professional service providers and education facilities is still relevant and should be considered an exciting open market opportunity. Also known as, hey, if you want to turn this into a business on your own, be my guest. That's kind of, I think, how I read that paragraph. Moving forward, Blender Foundation will focus more on its mission to get the world's best 3D technology in the hands of artists as free and open source software. Supporting studios and institutions will be done by improving the availability of resources, documentation, and know-how on the blender.org platform. This does make me wonder if Blender Cloud is also going to see a similar change in the future, because it doesn't really align with this statement either. Developed and provided helpful functionality to its users, such as real-time search and filtering, a world user map, social networking features, a jobs board, and much more. Functionality has benefited several other official Blender websites. Special thanks to Pablo Vasquez for his essential contribution to this project. So this is Ton basically winding, is Francisco City winding it down. So if you are currently a user of the Blender Network, you have until March the 31st to pull any relevant data you want off. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, this is following hot on the news of Unity Connect closing down. Now, Unity Connect was a portal for Unity developers to do things like post their work, to find a job, to collaborate with other users. Now, Unity still has their certification program, and it requires a ton of people, by the way. By the way, that is disgusting. Sorry about that. Over here, kind of this same thing. It is shutting down on February the 4th, 2021. So it just seems like the rise and proliferation of social media and other platforms is rendering these kind of dedicated platforms moot and expired. However, it is not all bad news. If we head on over to the Twitter, we will find Pablo actually posted this tweet, the Blender Network tweet, basically that it was being sunsetted. Happy to have been part of this together with FSIDDI. sleepless nights work to help connect Blunderheads in a time when social media was different, before ArtStation even. Thank Tons Rosdale for trusting us with this project. So kind of saying the same thing. It's a thing that made sense at the time. And then since then, we've got other sites and services have risen up on that topic, pointing you to another couple of locations. For art, there's ArtStation. For animation, there's anim.to. And then for jobs, you can go to blender.community jobs, available there. And then LinkedIn, Facebook, and all the other social media that came out. And then the key thing I want to point out is this one right here. It's not all over. 2021 will see a new Blender community made from scratch for a better experience. And upcoming new communities. We're working on it right now. It's simpler and easier to expand based on community feedback. And yes, it already supports post/user reporting, among other cool things such as user mentions, hashtags, easier embedding of multiple media files, video encoding, and more. Plan to add duplicate post merging, especially needed for RCS. So that is that. If you are currently a Blender Network user, it's going away. And if you are paying for it, your last month is going to be refunded. For everyone else, stay tuned. There is a new community rising from the ashes. It will be interesting to see how that all turns out in the end. But yeah, and I get it. To be honest, I get it why it happened with Unity Connect too. The proliferation and rise of social media, communities kind of moving into different directions. The fact that these things aren't as niche as they used to be. You don't really need the discovery that you used to. There's all kinds of people using Blender these days. All kinds of people using Unity these days. So yeah, all completely makes sense. And I understand why they're shutting it down, and I'll be interested in seeing how this Blender community develops going forward. But I'd love to hear your opinion. Have you ever heard of Blender Network? If have, do you use it or did you pay for it? And if so, will you miss it? More specifically, if you paid for it, did it actually help you get work? Because I think ultimately, most people that would pay for it were either looking for help or looking for work. So if it helped those people out, it accomplished its job. But yeah, it is now a relic. Hope you guys aren't too sad about that news, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.